So I think what I'm going to do, I did 60 kilometers run early this year. I'm just going to up it to 120. It's just, I'm never good every time I try.
What are you going for, though? What's the goal?
I think a bit of shadow, because I've got too much now. It started to curl now, and I think that's too much. But I can't just do the goatee. I can't attempt what you're doing.
Well, he's got the mo. I've got the...
You've got the goatee.
I don't even know. Is that
Dylan's
a goatee? I thought goatee
You've got
was
the
this.
This is laziness.
Well, yours is managed.
It's definitely not. I just don't shave.
Okay, you don't shave that part though.
No,
But that's
I do.
managing
This
it.
is I shaved yesterday.
You just keep
No,
the
2
mo.
days ago.
The mo's fresh.
No, I shave pretty much all the time now. It's disgusting.
How do you do your mow? Do you trim it? Do you do anything to it?
Comb it down and then get the buzzer and just make it just above the top lip.
Have you ever nipped your lip?
No, never.
Have you ever nipped your you don't shave. Have you ever nipped your butt?
Why?
Huh?
Have you ever nipped your butt? Trimming?
Huh?
Different area. I've gone south. I've travelled far south.
You're shaving your butt?
Anyway, welcome back to the 11th episode of... I'm not shaving my
You're bleaching it too?
I'm
curious.
not bleaching it, but I do
Curious,
trim.
how clean do you want it?
Well, welcome
Yeah,
back.
boys.
Welcome back to episode 11 of the Outspoken Show, the number 5 podcast in the world. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I'm not shaving my butt. I'm trimming it.
I'm not
I'm
judging
trimming
you,
it.
but I'm judging you hard. But
I keep the nether
Manscaped.
regions clean, well landscaped or manscaped.
What's that trimmer that keeps popping up on?
The law,
Manscaped.
I hate to
Lawnmower.
plug it. Yeah, Lawnmower 2.0. I think one day they'll plug the pod. They'll be a sponsor of the podcast.
Who knows?
keep it open, but...
I think so, but no, you keep it tidy. But
Do
I
you
have nipped my butt.
Do you use the same one on your face as you do?
You better not.
No, I got a different attachment.
You know, just wash it a bit, just rinse it off and go for gold.
Yeah, you just drown.
To say I've never done that would be a lie. Anyway.
Oh my god, you should.
No, you've got a different attachment. You've got a different attachment. One.
Yeah.
There's a distinct feature about one attachment, so that I remember that's my butt one,
Yeah.
my dick and butt, and then the rest is my face. The other one's the
You
face.
guys are brilliant.
Well, you know.
I'm not a razor type of guy. A razor scares me down there.
Oh, down there, no. What are you talking about? The face is fine, but not with...
Yeah, you don't want to.
Cut your nuts.
You don't want to landscape with a razor.
Yeah, it's asking for trouble. Very thin down there. Very thin skin.
Actually. Anyway, I sort of want to move on, but I also wanted to clarify. Anyway,
Leave it in the
this
open.
is a
It's
terrible
more-
start.
It's a brilliant start.
This is a terrible
Bit of
start.
Shenanigans.
I did want to talk though, because last podcast I said I was going to do a swim around Hamilton Island. I'm not going to do the swim around Hamilton Island. I really, and I still do want to do it, but there was so many factors involved, and it's not that I doubted my ability to swim 30Ks, even though some people might. It's just the other things that are involved. And when I did the Uluru run, it was just the skill required, and I guess the heat, but there's you got sharks for starters.
Yes.
But then you've also got these jellyfish, irukandji, and whatever the other bad.
Box
the one,
jellyfish,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
They're also really bad, and you can't see them, and they're tough to diagnose because is it just a sort like it's hard to differentiate that between sea lice and then diagnosing it. You've
Oh
got
really? They're like the same.
no, they feel the same as sea lice. One of them do. One of them are it's complicated.
And then they kill you.
Pretty much. So you've got like a small amount of window to diagnose it and treat it.
Yeah, no thanks.
And I figured death probably isn't worth it.
Might be a reason no one swum around that island so far.
It could be. I'd still like to be the first person because I don't think anyone's done it before. But I think a lot more planning and a lot more knowledge. I just couldn't find enough in the time that I was researching on the internet. But I have come up with a solution because I really want to do something, and I really want to hit $50,000 raised by the end of this year, raised for charity. So I think what I'm going to do, I did 60 kilometers run early this year. I'm just going to up it to 120.
120. Where
Yeah.
to? What's the run going to be?
I think what I'm going to do is go... I'm undecided on the route I want to take, but I like the idea of running from Brisbane to the border, the New South Wales-Queensland border, or the border to Brisbane. I'm thinking that because if I were to do that, that means I can finish like in King George Square, and then you can sort of just have everyone there and invite everyone. And plus, as it's getting tougher and tougher and the further you run, the closer you get to home and the more support you'll probably have. So I feel like that will be an easier and more motivating.
You know how Jess was saying the other episode that sometimes she gets people to jump in, do a little bit of swim with her? You can do the same thing there.
A few
Have
paces.
a little bit of...
I will.
Paces, exactly.
Yeah.
It'll be a slow pace. It'll take like 120 kilometers. That'll take probably 20 hours.
Yeah.
24 hours. Like it's probably going to be. I sort of wanted to. I mentioned it first on the pod, and I'm amending myself on the pod first. I didn't want to announce anything first because I wanted to explain it, but I haven't even I've literally just come up with the idea, and this.
He's just saying outlandish shit.
No, I am. But I'm serious. I'm dead serious. But the run only came about in the last 24 hours. I messaged Joe and Andy last night, and I said, I don't think I can do this swim. I just don't think
it's like a feasible option.
Yeah, it just
too many factors you can't control.
And looking at the other islands, it just seemed either they're in the same region, so you've got the same jellyfish, or if you go further to New South Wales, logistically it's a lot harder to get to. They're further off the coast. Yeah. How are you getting there?
Yeah, bugger that.
The amount of stuff you bring. So I thought,
still do something challenging, to run 120k. That's still a stupid idea. Yeah. But it's a lot less stupid than possibly swimming through jellyfish that kill you.
Yes.
And you can't see them.
You can control your route. You obviously know that there's not going to be anything like irukandji jellyfish on your run.
Might be a dingo.
Yeah, that'd be alright.
Yeah, you can outrun a dingo.
Dingo. Okay. You let people with you.
119 k's in outrun.
You have someone tailing you like a car or whatever that's going to scare off any of that shit. And do you know if it's 120k? You haven't even looked into it yet.
I think it
would be off route.
I think it's about 106 kilometers, the walking route suggested by Google Maps, and we'll spend more time figuring it out.
You know what you should use? You should get into Komoot.
Komoot's
like a trail running, gravel riding, mountain biking app. Basically, it's just finds you. You can set elevations and all that sort of thing, but it basically finds you the most efficient route through cross-country terrain. It's brilliant. I use it for running. Yeah.
Well, I think I want to stick to sort of roads and footpaths, just so that if people want to follow along, it's easy for them.
It's also good for picking one type of shoe, and especially because it'll help in terms of your knees and stuff like that. You can pick some big chunky boys to soften it all up. Yeah, but I think. The distance, I think it's about 106 kilometres from, I think it was Coolangatta to King George Square. So I might just extend it a little bit so it'll be a little bit further south from the border, running to King George Square, but I want to make sure I hit 120. And if I'm starting further into New South Wales, that's fine. But I think I'm excited because Uluru, essentially, while everyone was engaged with the run, I'm excited to have the idea of people actually there to watch me finish.
They can be there to see you.
Yeah,
at the finish line.
That's pretty exciting.
That's nuts,
imagine having 10, 15 people. I don't know how many, but I feel like I'd be able to find 10 people. Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Imagine recording one after. Fuck that.
Yeah, 100% will be recording. If we're doing it after the marathon.
We might have to.
After the marathon, I'll feel like you feel after this 120k run. That's what I reckon.
Yeah.
Most likely.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's all... You'll just be... The amount of pleasure that will come from you finishing the marathon and having a sip of water or sitting down is just it's orgasmic. Yeah. It's something else. Yeah, it is really something else.
But even hearing you talking about doing a 120k run, to me, it's a lot more digestible than you swimming 30k. In an environment you don't... To me, I seem like that's it. You could definitely do that better than you could do the 30. In my head.
Pardon me?
I need to hear some of his confidence. No,
I'm talking about you though. I feel like that's a more easily digestible thing for people to follow. He can do that. It's not going to be as much of a logistical nightmare.
To Jess the other episode, I can't fucking understand endurance swimming. It's mind-boggling sport. I mean, there's especially open water swimming. There's so many little elements that you've got to take into consideration. At least with running, you're running on a road.
Swimming, you've got the swell, you've got wind.
It's nuts.
You've got tide, the
temps.
So many different things. Running, it is a lot easier to control.
Just watching your footing, and then the rest is up to you. That's literally it.
Running through the night will be tough.
Running through the night, and you'll start early morning, but you reckon about 20 hours.
I reckon I might start in the afternoon.
Go through the night.
I don't know. I feel
It'll be cooler.
It'll be cooler, but I think when I did Uluru, when it becomes daylight, there's a certain amount of energy. It's uplifting.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was to be uplifted like 12 hours through, and then it's early morning in Brisbane, and then I'm finishing around lunchtime in Brisbane, like people...
It's good for your
can
sleep
hopefully...
schedule too. Because you'll be getting to Brisbane, you'll be absolutely smashed. You won't be able to walk, you'll be just rooted. And then you'll be ready for bed.
I won't be sleeping. You'll be in too much pain. You can't sleep.
Yeah. That's what happened with Uluru.
Yeah. Too much pain. Excruciating pain.
Cramps and that?
Is there anything you think you can do differently to prepare for it in terms of that? Or it's more your recovery you think you can improve on? Because preparing, you might be a little bit better.
I'll spend more time strengthening my legs because I felt like that was, towards the later part of Uluru, that was not what let me down, but that's an area I can improve on. So just squatting and lunging, just improving the muscles in my legs. But I think it's just the longer you go, the slower you've got to go at. Mm. So it's just managing the pace better.
Can't go a million miles an hour. It's not possible.
No.
Even Jess said that endurance things are different, where it's just like you're pacing yourself is a huge part of it. And you know your pace, but you don't push yourself beyond that.
That's why we're like the apex predator of the planet, is because we started off as cavemen learning how to pace ourselves in comparison to like a gazelle, for example. Like, we're never going to fucking catch a gazelle, but at least if we run it down over like 10 hours. So, I mean, you're built, like, you're naturally built for these sort of like ridiculous lengths. It's just like nowadays, with all the sugars and stuff like that in your diet, you're not necessarily as fit.
Oh, and there's no need to be able to run for 20 hours if you need. Like, there's no need. We have cars.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We have cars, and I like to spend a lot of time DIYing instead of doing the runs I should be going on.
That's true.
Speaking of,
he keeps adding and tinkering with his racing stripe.
He loves it.
Well, look, it's been distracting me from the runs after work. You know, instead I might decide to go home and paint on.
Where are you at with it? Is it fully done? Are you layering it now?
I had it fully done. So I've decided that instead of paying someone to vinyl stripe or paint a racing stripe in my car, I may as well do it myself. It's cheaper.
How much does it cost for a vinyl stripe, and how much?
I was quoted for exactly what I wanted, between $400 from one guy, $600 from another. So it just varies between that. To paint it on, with the amount of paint I'm using, it's closer to $200. So it's a $200 saving.
Plus, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun, and that's what I've noticed from.
Gets you out of running.
Does.
Sorry, go on.
In a non-procrastinatory way, I just noticed from doing it that how much joy it brings, like doing things to your own car. Like the car I've bought that I like, I'm now working on it myself in terms of putting the personalizations on it, and I didn't expect
your car rather than factory car.
Like if I paid someone else to put the stripe on it, I would expect it to be perfect. If it wasn't perfect, I'd probably be a bit annoyed. Like, I paid all this money, this person can't do it right. When I'm doing it, I don't mind if I don't want to stuff up a little bit, but if it's a little bit imperfect, I still look at it and I'm like, did that myself. Pretty cool. Pretty fun. I enjoyed it. Like, I didn't realize or expect to enjoy the DIY aspect of it as much. I don't know. Is there
it's a sense of achievement. You're like, fuck, I did this and this looks really cool.
Is there anything that's hit you like that? Because I did not expect it to be this enjoyable, to just be taking my time, going over, painting.
Fish tanks.
Fish tanks?
Yeah, I set up fish tanks, and I've got a micro tank next to the computer and in the office, and it is like my pride and joy of like downtime to strip out the tank and set it up, clean it, get it all planted, fill it full of water, put the fish in. It's brilliant. It's good fun. It's like a massive sense of achievement when you do it, and it's nice because you're like, holy shit, that may have taken like 4 or 5 hours, but that looks really cool.
How big are they? How big is a micro fish tank?
It's probably like the same size as Luke's laptop, like the screen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that's miniature compared to normal.
They're only like 15 through to 20 litres. So they're not big at all, but you can put some really awesome fish in there, like neon tetras. If you guys want to look up what's in there, there's albino corridorus, there's neon tetras, there's salt and pepper bristlenose, there's
little cute things you can
We
chuck
may
in there.
We may not have internet because of the storm.
Oh, that's
the
right.
storm has affected us today. That's right.
But if you want to look at them, there's the names.
Neon
but anyway,
Tetra.
they're pretty cool, and I mean, it's really good fun. Neon tetras are a little species of piranha. They're a cousin to piranhas.
Are they anything like piranhas?
Oh, dude, I put 3 of the salt and pepper bristlenose in the tank. They're designed to
sounds like food.
It
It's
sounds
like
nice,
salt
actually.
and pepper
No,
brisket. It
I'm
doesn't
hungry
sound like
thinking
something. Yeah.
They're really cool. They're like these black and white dotted catfish, pretty much.
Oh, nice.
And they crawl around the tank, cleaning all the algae off the leaves, off the filter, off the glass, off the rocks, everything like that. They're bottom feeders. They clean everything up, and yeah, they're brilliant. And I put 3 of them in, and the neon tetras had been in prior. They killed 2 of them. They just smashed them to bits. I put snails in because I thought, oh well, I've lost 2 of the bristlenose. I put some snails in that'll do a very similar job. They're called mystery snails. What they did was they held the snail against the glass and then they rammed it
Holy
and smashed the.
You need some CCTV on this.
I know
You
it
need
was
to take
fucked. I'll get a photo of one of the empty snail shells and we can put it on the TV next episode.
Wow.
Nature's
Yeah,
vicious,
they're
eh? Oh.
brutal. But very, very, very fun to like go.
Do you
through.
name them? Do you name
Oh,
your
no.
fish? No. Is that a waste of time?
They're
Like,
gonna die too quickly. Like, they're gonna get beaten up, and you'll feel sad.
Only the bristlenose are the only ones that have died. I've got Australian guppies in there. I've got tetras, corridors, but no names. No. Don't waste. Maybe the surviving bristlenose should have a name.
can you do like fish wars? Like, or is that
You
inhumane?
can. No, you can if you want to. It's definitely inhumane. But
I'd have to do with humans. It's
for
just-
example, like there's this invasive species which I'll have to remember the name, but they're pretty much everywhere in the Bulimba Creek waterways, and they only grow to like the second knuckle on your pinky finger. They're really, really, really small fish. But they're an African version of a guppy. They'll kill anything that they can. I mean, if you put them in a tank with some tetras, you'd have an all-out war.
Luke's getting some ideas.
Fight night.
Luke's like, yeah,
we
podcast fight night, fish version.
we got the Logan Paul Mayweather. We can put that on the undercard. Like, we got a jam pack afternoon.
Nah,
Then.
fish are cool. If anyone wants to
Won't
get
do that.
into it, I highly recommend it. You don't have to sink much money into it. You can get really
Get it?
cheap filters
Sink?
and that. Sink? Yeah, dude. I'm all full of jokes like that. But no, it's really cool pastime. It's one of those things, like, it's just satisfying to set it up. You see all these really nice fish and...
Is it soothing
Awesome.
to be working next to it? Is it like a therapy?
Yeah, you can hear like, if I don't have my headset on with, like, any, like, background noise, you just hear the filter rolling in the water. It's really nice. I got a bonsai, like flowering bonsai next to my desktop. It's a really awesome space.
But I even found that with painting the car. Like, I didn't have any music or anything playing. I was just hearing the spray go over it. And the whole process was so, like, relaxing and
Do you get...
therapeutic. And I'm like, I never had a creative hobby. I'd play, like, Xbox or play sport, but I never had, like, a creative avenue. I'm like, this is
the thing.
like
I
this.
really think that everyone should have a creative hobby. Like, have whatever you want in terms of, like, you might really love playing games. But you should also have some creative outlet. Maybe you really like spray painting. Maybe you like oil painting on canvas. But it's a massive stress relief. It's just like, oh, relax.
like, I could wait to get home to just
Yeah.
start painting my car. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, but
Who am I?
No, but
Really?
that's good, though.
I was like all day at work, just like, oh, I want to go home and just paint that stripe.
Wow.
Let's go.
If you were to, you probably don't have any like creative outlet in this sense. I mean, like the podcast is.
I'd say
Your
this is
creative
my
outlet.
creative outlet.
But if you were to have anything that was small, maybe you invest like 2 hours in a week towards it. I mean, like I feed my fish once every 2 days. I clean the tank.
Is that good or
Once
is that
a-
a bad thing?
No, that's brilliant.
That's what they
You
meant.
meant to do
it's
it.
good.
You meant to do it very regularly. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to feed them all the time. They get fat. They die.
What's the
They
cat
don't
the
eat.
cat in the hat story? Dr. Seuss, Big Fish, the one where he kept feeding it.
Mm.
Well, he just kept
I know.
feeding it, and it just kept
Kept
growing
growing.
out of his tank, and it couldn't fit in the house anymore. And then, anyway, sorry,
It's a gross exaggeration
creative
of
outlet.
reality, but that's
But no, you can.
2 hours a week.
I think you should definitely find something like 2 hours a week because it's that thing when the chips are down and you're just like, fuck it, I need to have a break and work's just stressing you out. You can just go do that.
it's a visceral thing that you can just something about being able to see it, to be able to touch it, feel like I did that. Like that's
A sense
it's
of pride.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe it is a sense of pride. But you're like, Cool.
Yeah, but
I created something.
You can take that, when you're done like the cosmetic version of maintenance on the car, you can take it to the actual mechanics and the hardware of the car. You can set it up to be so schmick that you just look at the car and you're like, holy shit, I've invested so many hours into this baby and it's ready to rock and roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm definitely getting the urge. I'm thinking about, I'm not going to do anything like performance-wise because,
You'll
costs too much.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of, I'll service it myself. I'm going to learn how to do it. Like, that's all going to be, back in the days, I'll get paid off to someone who can do it for me. But I'm like, no, I think I would just really enjoy maintaining it myself.
Like a garden type thing.
Maybe that's what the gardening is. Like, it's
like
something you're seeing and you're maintaining and keeping it and making it as good as you can.
Gabby and I garden. I mean, it's another one of our outlets that you don't, like, we just get out there and we go, oh, what do you think would look nice in this pot? And it's fantastic. And when you plant something and you see it growing and it's doing so well and you invest time and energy into it, it's just the best thing. I honestly think you should get a hobby like that. It doesn't have to be the most expensive thing. It doesn't have to be the most time-consuming thing. I think it's actually better when it's the complete opposite and it's something you just park in the corner, come back to whenever you want. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's sort of what we talked about when we spoke last episode about the downtime or the self-care, as much as I hate to talk about it. I feel like I've started to, like, the creative side of this, but also like making videos. I've started to get into that just in the last couple of months. I'm still shocking at it. But another thing I love watching on Facebook is those craft projects.
Yeah, they're cool.
The renovations or the restorations or the...
Of houses or?
Just anything, whether it's old chair, whether they strip it down, or an old motorbike. But then, is it epoxy or hypoxy? The plastic where they...
Epoxy resin.
Oh, yeah. I've loved watching that. I don't know what it is.
That's actually extremely expensive. Is
that okay?
No, the actual like epoxy resin material, but... You see people who do like massive table settings, right?
Yeah.
And they'll have like a river system with all the rocks and stuff like that in the center. Then they'll pour the colored epoxy resin or clear epoxy resin. When that's a finished product, it's ridiculously expensive, but they're so cool to do.
How much if I wanted to do something myself? Like, how much
you
do you need?
You might buy the
cheap?
epoxy resin for like $100 for X amount of liters. But by the time you invest like your time and energy into it, it might take you like 6 months to do the table if you're doing but that's if you're doing like 2 hours a week, right?
Okay, yeah.
Like if you're not putting energy into it, it's going to take you ages. But when you finish it, your table you could sell it for like $1,000 if you want. Especially if it's really nice materials and you've done like your craftsmanship is good.
Good, yeah.
That's why people love doing woodworking and blacksmithing and all those sort of really hands-on crafts.
I wouldn't say my craftsmanship is good. We got curtains. I showed you the curtains just before to put up back here, just to break up the contrast so it's not white on white on the set. And I called up Granddad asking if he could help put up the curtains because
he's brilliant though. He's a really
handy.
Dude. He's straight and he's like, yep, let me get it fixed.
Yeah, he knows what to do. I could figure it out, but my craftsmanship is not at the level that.
That's where it's good. You can just watch and learn in that scenario. You can just take it all in. You'd be like, that's how you do it.
It's all how much you want to get out of it. It's all how much you want to, if you want to learn to do that. Like I'm honestly confident I could come over with you and we could do that. We could find the thing to do. We could install a couple of hooks and put up a curtain ourselves.
And you'd be surprised, Luke. Like you may sit here and go, I'm in an hour and I don't know if I am like confident to do it. But these sort of things, this is where you just back yourself and you have a go. And if you fuck it up, it's a few dollars and we just redo it.
It's funny because one aspect where you don't back yourself, it looks because you back yourself to swim around an island and run forever, but a couple hooks in the wall.
I just have no idea.
He's complete.
So
he's like,
you can research.
Maybe he's bipolar.
Yeah. You're just very single-minded. Like I can do this. I can do.
I've got to do the most complex thing on the fucking planet. I got to swim around an island by myself, and then he's like. I don't know if I can do that. He's like, I backed myself to do a podcast with the boys.
Yeah.
But that curtain, it's brilliant.
It's got its difficulties.
Maybe because it's not your house. Maybe you're just worried about screwing up someone else's shit.
No, I'm okay with that.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I got no idea.
Sorry, Mum and Dad. But, I just don't know what's going on. But just recently, the Kentucky Derby happened. Medina Spirit I think it's going to be disqualified. It sounds like it is, because its trainer gave it betamethasone or something like that, which is an ointment for some sort of therapy that it was going through. Apparently needs 14 days prior to said event, which was the Kentucky Derby, of not
Kentucky
taking
Derby is a horse racing.
one of the biggest in the world.
Yeah, just in case anyone is listening.
One of the biggest.
I didn't really know.
Yeah.
Till
You've got the Melbourne Cup, which is big for us in Australia. The Kentucky Derby is the thing in America. And worldwide. It's a very famous race.
Yeah, if you're a gambler for horse racing, or you get around the horse racing scene, you'd know.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, so this horse, it's actually racing in another event this weekend, even though it tested positive on its first test of, I'm going to stuff it up again, betamethasone or something like that.
Steroid?
Buttermenthols.
Horse steroid?
Horse steroids. Yeah, so this ointment. But it's interesting because the winner, which is named Amr Zidane, has to hand over his $1.8 million purse. But the gamblers get to keep their money. What happens...
Oh, well, I'll talk last, because I don't know, I don't agree with it.
Well, I think it's weird, because what happens if... And, well, I think there's so many issues in my mind, but what happens if the owner was to dope the fuck out of the horse so that it's so jacked to the tits that it will win?
Yeah.
Like it's on crack, it's on cocaine or some shit.
Yeah.
So it wins, and it tells its friends to bet on it. They make a killing, and of course it's going to be disqualified. But the gamblers still keep their money if it wins.
You're rigging the system. Yeah, well, that's sort of where I was going to go with it. Is like, at what stage do you... When you're gambling, you're putting your money on the horse and the owner and the trainer and everyone in between. Like, you're basically saying, I trust the process you went through in order to win this race. Good luck, and here's my money. And if you win, I want more money back. You can't just fuck around and then dope up the horse, like you said, to the nines, and then just keep your money if you're the gambler. Like, it doesn't work that way, because it goes against pretty much every rule of fair play, which is...
Well, it's not anymore. It's no longer fair play.
Is the reason that...
No, the fair play and the gambling, sorry, is like you've just cheated the system.
Yeah, so obviously the reason the gambling companies have decided to go about it that way is so they don't have to give back everyone's money who lost money, essentially, so they can just... It's easier to just give out the winnings than to give everyone back their money and have it as if it's like fair game. Because surely you'd have to reimburse everyone who lost then if that won.
Everyone be back at zero.
Yeah.
It'd be a bit...
Or do they then just give the winnings to the person who came second?
Potentially, but maybe paid off more.
Or it could have been that one was paying $1.32 and the other one was paying $7, so it's actually cheaper.
My head immediately goes to that's it. They've just decided this is the lesser of two evils. We'll just keep those people their winnings, and we are not going to worry about giving back everyone else their money.
Once you've sent out that money for first place for winning, you can't just fucking ask like 60,000 people, "Hey, sorry, man, we got to take the money back." Like, they're just going to say no.
Yeah,
it's my money.
Really, they should let the winners keep it. Yeah. And give back the money to the losers. Like, that's probably the right thing to do given the circumstances. Or give it to second place as the winner. Well. Yeah. Like, one of those is probably... But it's such a costly thing.
It is really hard.
But the thing is, though, like, I completely agree, but you're still rewarding... If it was to be an inside job, where they go, you're still rewarding inside jobs.
If for, like, the 2 or 3 people who did the inside job...
Not 2 or 3... Well, you don't know how many.
Because how many people won?
Who knows?
So you can't assume everyone's involved in the insider trading.
Yeah, but dude, that's what happens. Like, it may be 1 or 2 people, but those 1 or 2 people might have betted at a disproportionate rate because they knew that inside.
They might be betting $500,000 each bet.
When I'm betting like $2, and it's not fair to have that because gambling. You're going to lose your money, you're going to win your money. But if you know for a fact that you're going to win, that's not gambling, that's just investing. You're investing on a sure thing, and it's not fair. Like,
it goes against all the rules of what it is it?
Yeah, it goes against all the rules of gambling.
Or do you then say, okay, bet size is above $10,000, don't get paid out for 2 days before they verify
some
So, like,
investigation.
yeah, like
process.
fair play.
Surely they'll do that.
But
anyway,
then
won't they?
you've got the gambling companies that just make a killing off interest of money they get. I don't know.
And
but
America's
also-
weird with gambling too. Not everywhere in America you can gamble. Like there's lots of
That's true. Yeah.
very few. I think it's like 2 states, or it's only a
They're
few
opening it up
states.
now.
They are now. Yeah.
Dave Portnoy's, I think, just, I don't know, bootstrapping that one. Not bootstrapping, I don't know. But he's heavily involved with the opening of gambling with his company called Penn, I believe.
Sports betting is big. It's big in America. It's funny because we love it
They
here,
do the
but they don't even do
DraftKings,
it.
what's DraftKings, the
DraftKings
fantasy,
is big,
that's
yeah.
huge. And that's essentially gambling because they put money into a pool as
It's
payouts.
gambling. Yeah, absolutely.
I was just having a think, right? So this horse, like Luke said, you just pump it full of drugs and it wins, right? All you're doing with drugs is just raising the ceiling cap, okay?
Of performance, you
Of
mean?
performance, yeah. So your horse will perform here, same as a human body will perform here. And I'm mentioning the human body because I'll make a reference in a second. If you've got the horse, the natural state of a horse here, genetics will make that ceiling fluctuate up and down. When you put the drugs in, drugs don't just increase the roof. You still got to train and feed and rest the horse. It just helps with that process. Now, what happens if you had a drugged competition and a clean competition? You know what I mean? So you can still bet on a drugged horse. It's because that's what they do in bodybuilding, right? Like everyone knows that these mass monsters in bodybuilding, they're on drugs. You can't achieve that naturally. There's freaks, genetic freaks like Thor and the Mountain,
Yeah.
like, because they've got a genetic defect in their code that allows them to keep that muscle mass. But
I think it's like a Viking gene, but sorry.
Yeah,
Anyway, that's what they've talked about.
It's
There's
called
like
the Hercules
Viking
gene.
Definitely so, yeah.
Hercules gene. Yeah. It but what happens if you just kept it like bodybuilding, where everyone goes, "Oh fuck, we know you're all on drugs. We'll just be okay with it, and we'll have a drugged competition and a clean competition." Can you do that with racing as well?
I think bodybuilding's like, it's because they've got the different categories where you've got the get as big as you can, and I think it's illegal in bodybuilding no matter what competition you're competing in, but they sort of turn a blind eye because I think they all do it.
No, you cycle your drugs. So they're still, like, they're on drugs.
Yes.
Like Ronnie Coleman, for example. He's said in so many interviews, he's like, yep, I took drugs here, and here in my career. Arnie, he did the same. And what they do is they cycle. So 8 weeks out, you stop your drug cycle. And
I also
then
don't want to
you're clean.
speak for every person in that space either, though, because not all of them do. But there's a history. There's
a massive amount.
There's a track record.
You can't deny it.
It's like saying there's drugs and cycling. Like it's the we're pretty sure we know that there's.
But that's what I mean. Is like, can you
outlandish.
do that with racing as well? Because we do it in cycling.
You mean
sometimes.
horse racing? You're talking about horse racing specifically, or
just referencing back to this because Luke's saying, well, you can pump a horse full of drugs in, it's a sure win. Well, one way to stop this, like this sure thing betting, would just to be, well, every horse in this race is all drugged.
I understand the concept, and for horse racing, I wouldn't care about horse racing. When you start to get into the human element of it, I don't think you could ever have like a steroid league and a non-steroid league.
Well,
I think it would be. I think the problem with that would be it would like eliminate the potential for fair play because it would price out people who can't afford to steroid out of being in the steroid league, which you would think would be the more entertaining league, which would generate all the money, which is where the money would go.
Because they're better, stronger, faster.
It'll inevitably be way more entertaining to watch because in every physical way, or in every physical way, they'll be better. Like,
true.
I feel like that's why it wouldn't translate into human.
Well, I don't, and I feel like horse racing is nearing the end. Just with the amount of death, I think we've started to collectively realise
it's not okay.
Yeah, but then if you were to say, let's create a drugged horse racing and a non-drugged, it's like, well, who are we to say we're drugging a horse? A human can, in most cases, and I think the Russian team might have actually been different, but a human can at least say, I want to be drugged here, or no, I don't.
Exactly,
a horse can't say that.
Yeah. More of a moral quandary by doing it to a horse instead of choosing to do it to
I just thought
yourself.
I'd pop the question because
it's interesting.
It's good though.
I wouldn't even have a problem with the horses being steroid, non-steroid. I don't think I would.
I think I'm starting to like. I thought about it today. I think if you took horse racing away from me, I'm not a big gambler. I watched the Melbourne Cup. But I wouldn't really.
I wouldn't be phased. No, but there's some people who
no.
are diehards. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like just the other day, I was watching on the news. This fella had his last moments, and the ambulance drivers basically said, "Hey, look, we're taking you out of the hospital because you're dying, and we can't stop that scenario. What do you want for your last bit of food and drink, and where do you want to go?" And he said, "Oh, I'd love to go watch the horse races and have a beer and a pie."
Good for him.
And so that's what he did. And he had punters come down from the stands and, wish him all the best and all that sort of stuff. It's interesting because whilst we might say, oh, football's my sport, some people, they find racing like that. So get your take on it. The drug horses.
I agree.
As long as it generates revenue, it's not going anywhere as well. As long as it's...
That's not true.
You don't think?
I think people are collective. I think, like you said,
that's what I mean.
there's
The collective
old people who... It's I think harder for an old person to change their mindset about things, but I think the majority of younger people can see that there's a bit of an issue with if a horse trips, that's the end of its life. Yeah. Not end of its life as a racer, as a racing horse, dies. But it's the end of its life. Jerry Seinfeld made a joke about it. It was like if they knew that if they'd trip, they'd fall, they would just tiptoe around like, I can't lose this.
Yeah, but you're right. It's like it's a little bit different.
But I think it enhances my point because as we, the next generation, are growing up with it, we're going to less likely to invest in it, which means the money's going to leave from it and naturally it'll just stop the industry. It won't be worth fighting to keep it because people won't be as invested in it.
Where do you see the industry going?
In that one, I don't know enough about it, but I see it the same way you see it in terms of most people like horse racing. Is that really something we should be doing? Like, does that really sit that well with me as an idea of killing a horse as soon as it's useless as a racer? Like, most people our age, I would think, are less likely to be involved in that. So I think naturally it would just stop being of any...
Yeah, it'll peter out and put the money somewhere else.
That's what I think. I don't think there's enough people going to be fighting for it in 30, 40 years.
Speaking of fighting, I know we talk about it every episode, but I think that's where the money would go. Like the fighting world. Yeah, you always see it in like books and movies where... we'll read about it in books, but you see it in movies. And it's like this utopian world and it's like this really gritty, violent sport. Maybe we like that. We just get rid of horses. We go, yeah, let's beat each other up and put more money into that.
We do. UFC, booming.
Yeah.
Booming.
It is booming. Yeah. There's way too much money there. But people love to gamble. That's the thing.
Gambling won't go away.
No, never.
Gambling
There's been gambling
is not
since
going
the dawn
away.
of time. So here's a rock. Beat that other guy in the head, you have it.
How far can you throw it? Me and my mates do that. We might have even done it on the golf course. Yeah. $5 on longest hit.
Maybe I can,
It's
we just keep a tally at the end of the day.
Everyone loves it. You can't stop it. It's bragging rights as well, even if there's nothing.
That's huge pride.
Yeah.
I'd rather gamble for bragging rights. I'm very tight with my money. I hate gambling for money. I did it once with Luke and I won.
That was on a round of golf. Yeah, I slide.
Dominated.
Maybe that's where the money goes.
But don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Money goes to golf. Hey, you know this, right?
I love golf.
There's a new golf course opening up near Mini Ippy, and I was just thinking, I was like, why don't I become a groundsman?
You could.
Dude, it would be awesome.
You love gardening.
Mow. Yeah, if you love gardening, that's
put your headset on, just clean, get the grass all ready, get the course looking nice.
Dude, mowing is a great thing to do. I love mowing just as much as I love painting the car.
You have a lot of like these
mundane tasks.
But auditory tasks. Do you like ASMR?
No.
But you
we listened to a gherkin, a girl eating a gherkin.
That makes me very uncomfortable. It's not even like a calming thing. I just enjoy doing it.
Isn't that the cool like mukbang or something like that? It's on YouTube. It's like mukbang. I don't know. I think it's a Korean thing. It's funny, like where you like eat food on YouTube.
Oh no!
I think it's ASMR. Hear you eating, bro.
Yeah, ASMR.
Like some audio sound.
Yeah. That's a different. That's a targeted thing at certain people.
No, it's an auditory. It's an auditory sensory thing.
Motor response.
Basically,
neurons.
your body just like goes. Your body just goes. Ooh, this is nice. It likes the sound of it, but the actual eating thing, I think that category is called mukbang or whatever it's called. I don't really know, but I just thought, like, if you like mowing and all these mundane like sensory things, I love the sound of this.
You probably like ASMR.
Yeah, you probably like ASMR.
I don't like the sound of the mowing. I just enjoyed the process of maintaining the.
That's fair.
Maybe that's why you like working in a warehouse. Could you just like, I like getting my tasks and just boom, boom, boom. You're very systematic.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. The structure of it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
If... This is a change the direction. Well, we're going back because I wonder if you bet on a horse so that dopes and it wins, you still keep the money. Coming up to the Olympics, we know there's doping in the Olympics. There's a long history of it.
Yeah, the Russians.
Watch Icarus if you haven't already on Netflix. There's a very eye-opening about the Russian doping scandal in the.
What was it called again?
Icarus, like the Greek bird.
Is it? Is it Greek?
It's actually a human.
I can't even remember the reference, but it like falls.
The story, yeah. So the story is there's this kid who gets shipped to this island with his dad, and the dad got all this praise.
Yep.
And he started to build these wings for his kid, and he started to build it with feather and wax. And his kid started to learn to fly, and he said to his kid, "Be careful, because if you go too close to the sun, the wax will melt the wings. The wings will fall apart. You'll fall." And so he started to fly, learning to fly, and he gradually gets higher. And the higher he gets, everyone else, the normal people, look up to him. So he just likes to go higher and higher and higher, because the more people look up on him, he gets too close to the sun. The wax melts, wings fall apart.
And so that's why this like Olympic doping doco is called Icarus, because that's like, I love the fame and the glory of me.
Metaphor of Russia just eventually getting every single one of their athletes, except the figure skating team, I think it was, doped.
Is it just about Russia, or is it about other?
He focuses on Russia
and cycling.
Definitely starts off in cycling, then focuses on the Russian
Olympic massive
scandal.
sport for doping.
Oof.
No, but not even like medications and things like that. I love to cycle, but there's one of the famous cyclists. He basically put like a really tiny motor in the cog system, and basically it just helped him along. It only kicked in when the hills come across. And it doesn't seem like much, but it's a massive difference because it allows him to rest. And the motor was only the size of your thumb. It was tiny, but it was brilliant. It's like it just gave him enough time to rest anyway. I just thought that's a little fun fact for the pod.
Everyone's looking for that edge. Everyone's looking for that edge in competition because they love to go high. They love to be looked upon. But if athletes were to be doping at the Olympics and then they get caught to be doping, should the gamblers that bet on the athletes keep the money? Is it the same thing?
That's what I was saying before. It's like, if you're gambling, you're basically saying, I put my faith in the team.
But it's a human this time.
Yeah, but if you're gambling, you're saying, I put my faith in the team and the athlete to follow the rules and like do the right things. You lost your money, pure and simple, because it's a gamble. You may lose your money, you may win some money. And you lost it because those people are stupid and you put your money in the wrong people.
Because it would then become a thing of how long do you delay paying out the person in order to make sure it's fair. Because once you give the money to the person who's bet, you can't get it. You're not getting that back.
The issue.
I don't think even a government would force you to do that because like that's their.
It's completely against everything. And also, if I was a gambler and you turned around and we were like, "Hey, sorry, mate, we really fucked up here and we've got to take the money back and we've got to give it to someone else," I would never bet again with you because I'd just be like, "Fuck you, that's ridiculous. Don't get me started. I'm keeping the money. You can go stuff on." You know, like,
it would. I think that would destroy the industry because people, even if you delayed payments for 3 months while they got all the test results back, that whole industry, that's done. Like you can't. People like especially now, the immediate return of their money. As soon as they win, boom, pay me out early. Look at this. They want that. It's like it's all.
So it's in the sports bet or the betting agency's best interest to manage and maintain so that it is regulated properly.
Well, yeah, and then just to cop when they do,
just so that the payouts are correct and that the teams legitimately win.
Yeah, but also I think it's on the industry has to understand that when someone wins from cheating, it might look bad on them to have it paid out, but they have to pay it out if they don't know they've cheated because they'll never get it back. Like I think changing that too much,
go back and forth.
There's no way that you can do that without it.
You've got to pay out the new winner though.
Do you reckon pay out the both?
Yeah, because if
I think so. That would morally be the right thing to do.
Because if the person that got
they're gambling, they don't give a fuck about moral.
But if the person that won didn't win because through the rules and the reason or the
regulations
rules,
and all that,
then they didn't win. So who did win? Is it the second person?
Second place would get it.
And then second person should be rewarded.
Yeah. Definitely, and I think that's where the gambling industry would have to take their loss of they've paid out the initial winner. They also have to pay out second. That's just cost of doing business.
So it's probably their interest of trying to actually regulate and hope that...
Oh, pride. That's why they have...
They probably still make huge margins on that anyway,
sure.
so it wouldn't matter.
They have... That's why they have random drug tests, and they go out, 3 months in advance.
Is that the betting companies?
This is USADA, the whole Olympic company.
Every big sports organization does this. Like UFC, they'll rock up to your house, knock on your door, and you don't have a choice. It's basically like a warrant, and you can say, you get a choice, and you can say, hey, I don't want to do it, and you can postpone it, but it's only like a week. It's not like 6 months. You have to take the test.
That's a little bit different to the gambling companies doing, but I know what you mean.
But the gambling company can rock up to a stable and be like, hey, we're here to test your horse now.
Can they?
Yeah.
I don't know if that horses, maybe. Yeah. I don't know if the gambling companies can do it with UFC. I know they outsource to USADA, who's the one that does.
Well, maybe they're the ones.
So they might do it on behalf of. I don't know.
But they definitely, the gambling companies definitely do it, because I remember seeing something about a horse that got removed from a race, maybe like 3 months prior because of drugs.
I wouldn't be surprised.
In bodybuilding all the time.
I wouldn't be surprised if like horse racing, the gambling interest or the gambling companies have more of a sway, because that's more gambling focused, whereas UFC is not as heavily weighted on the betting in terms of it industry. No, but it's not as.
I think it definitely.
You reckon as much as horse racing?
I think that's where most of its money comes from. Yes, your sponsors.
I think horse racing is bigger. Is that what you're saying?
Without gambling, horse racing is gone. Without gambling, UFC can still maintain as a sport.
Okay.
That's my point. That's more my point. Like that relies on gambling to sustain itself. UFC doesn't necessarily. I think it would probably be some kind of market for it.
Well, the UFC was around in the was it late 90s, I think. It's been around for a little while.
But it's molded a lot over
It's definitely existed at some point in the 90s, so let's just say late 90s.
Gladiators in ancient Rome. There's always going to be some kind of combat sport.
Yeah, but if it existed in the late 90s, there was no gambling, I'm pretty sure, throughout the whole of the United States, except Vegas and except whatever's New Jersey, which is Atlantic City.
Connecticut or something. Like some weird,
City,
weird.
Yeah. So I think to your point, UFC can survive without gambling.
That was the other point. I think that because without gambling, there is no horse racing.
Yeah, but that's also, you guys got to clarify. That's also like above ground gambling.
Oh, of course. There'll always be underground gambling, even if it becomes irregular. But
we can't sit here and say, the sport will die. There'll always be gambling, man. It's like, here's $5.
But it won't be sustaining the sport, I think, is more the point. Yeah.
Well, why is WADA, the World Anti-Doping Organization, so behind? Is that because they can only be reactive?
I was about to say, I think it's because it's harder to guess what people are going to discover in order to gamble in a new way. They have to just react. They're always going to be one step behind.
There's no way you don't think that...
I don't know enough about the side, but I don't think so. It's so hard to... Well, you have to create the drug before they do it, but then they could create something different.
Exactly. You're not going to sit there and be like, I don't know, he's making drug XYB. Like, you're not going to know. So, you have to react, and you've got to go looking for any little thing. And if you find a variable that you don't know yet, unknown variable, you've got to then test it and delve into it. I mean, that's why they have to just be on top of it. And that's sort of where my point was around preemptive testing. There needs to be more so that these sort of payout problems when there's wins, that doesn't necessarily happen as often because you've already eliminated the possibility of these doping wins because you've tested the whole field 6 months in advance.
That's why the dodgy wins, like the backdoor deals, would probably happen in the leagues where there's not even professional. It'd be like semi-professional leagues where they can have influence over things and do these random big bets because there's not having the same testing and that kind of shit.
Well, definitely. Like Luke said a few episodes ago, where like these colleges over in America, there's hundreds of thousands worth of resources there. You dope to win a few matches, maybe, and
I'm sure
basketball,
American football has
it's so much of that.
Is that something you guys would ever do? Like, if you just no,
it's a career ender if you get caught. Not worth it for the $500 you get paid.
For what? For what?
If it's to throw a match.
Oh, throw a match, no.
What about win a match? What if your coach was like, you've got to
I don't think they do that.
That'd be so hard. You get just extra incentive, not just having a bonus. Like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with betting on your team to win.
You got enough of an incentive, yeah. But no, I've heard of stories of tennis players that have been tennis players that mates of mine know that have been caught not doping. Throwing a match.
Throwing matches.
Okay. Actually, sorry. The one person that I know was betting on himself, and that's a no.
That's weird to me. Like betting yourself to win.
Yeah,
that's so strange.
And you can't. You can't even have friends or family bet on you.
I know that's a rule, but to me that's such a strange thing.
Why the fuck are you doing the sport? You're betting on yourself to win anyway. It's a 1v1 sport.
It's a bit of extra money. I back myself so much, I'll put $1,000 on myself to beat you. It's what we do when we play golf with each other.
Yeah. But that's sort of... Again, Luke said it the other episode. I asked you, like, would you ever sort of like say, oh, no, my time's done, I'll bet on someone else? And you're like, no, I'm always betting on myself because there's always a chance for me to win. There's always like, I'm going to back me before I back anyone else.
For sure.
That's when we were talking about the like investing in other people. And you're like, no, I'm backing myself before anything else. Well, if you're playing tennis, or like these one-on-one sports, fuck yeah, I'm betting on myself to win, because otherwise why am I playing?
Yeah.
What, just to lose?
It's weird. It's
yeah,
weird.
but there are times where you'll be playing and there will be uneven matchups. I think that's the one where it's like, all right, I'm a sure thing to lose here, and I can make sure of it too. Or this is a 50-50 match. It's not actually that important to me.
Fuck off.
I can still qual.
Yeah.
I can still make points, or I can still move up the ranks because this dude's.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
There'll be circumstances, I think, where a loss won't be so bad.
And why can't? I guess Then again,
there's never a situation where it's okay to bet on yourself.
And then you've got bad financial issues if someone is struggling financially, and especially at a college or amateur level. It's very hard, or you're not allowed to monetize your own ability.
It's so cooked. But so cooked. Can't even do with Instagram or YouTube videos that are monetized. So stupid. But
it's
say that again.
College athletes in America can't generate any money based on their name while they're part of the NCAA. Like, you can't be a YouTuber popping off in high school and then go to the college and keep making money that way. You have to you can't make any of your own money.
Name.
Yeah, you can't use your name to make any money. Because they basically own you once you become part of that industry.
Property of NCAA.
They don't pay you.
That's just...
It's such bullshit,
that's
considering...
That's mind-boggling garbage right there.
How much damage, especially to football players, put their bodies through. Especially the ones who aren't ever going to make it to the NFL. Like,
I'm not... Hey, by the way... You remember the other episode we were talking about NFL? I went and spent a bit of time like watching some clips and some hype videos.
Hey? Was that the one I showed you today with the little kid?
And is that the one where he like launches back and throws his absolute cannon at his brother?
This was more brutal, where one kid completely taken out another kid in terms of that's
like little boppers.
Yeah. Anyway, so I get into the NFL wormhole on YouTube and like online. It's hype. And I love it. I was hooked. I was like, yep, this is a cool sport.
Watch Ballers? Have you seen with that? Dwayne Johnson? Yeah, that's a cool show.
Ballers is a freaking awesome show. That song?
Yeah. I don't know the show, but
above it, Lil Wayne.
NFL puts a lot of effort into the media, making these clips. Even the NFL YouTube channel just has compilations of the greatest plays, the biggest hits. Like, they're so into it.
Rugby Union copied like those NFL...
they should.
What's the word for it? It's the fantasy clips, and it's like, pick me for your team,
Fantasy leagues,
The All Blacks did it, and one of the guys they all joked around. It was this absolute piss take. He's like, I fold the washing for my mum. Sign me up. It's like, it's absolute classic. But NFL was hype. Loved it.
I was listening to I love a bit of hip hop music, and I was listening to Ric Flair Drip. It's a song by Offset. And one of the lines is, going to the jeweler, bust the AP, yeah. AP is a watch brand.
Okay.
AP's rapped about a lot, and it got me thinking. These are the sort of types of things that validate a brand.
When like people are talking about you and
people
stuff
are talking about it. A lot of people listen to rappers.
Oh, yeah.
Whether I know you don't listen to rappers much.
No, I listen to rappers. I listen to like 90s underground rappers.
But like when these guys are talking about stuff, it does validate a brand.
Yeah, especially if you're like 16 years old and you're easily influenced and you're seeing this dude talk about AP watches. You're like, fuck, I'm going to get myself 15K, I'm going to buy myself an AP watch.
More than that. Good luck.
I discovered what Essential was today, and like I've never heard of Essential as a brand, and $200 for some casual shorts. But I was like, what the? But it definitely does.
But some kind of is there a point at which, I mean, Hennessy is rapped about a lot. The alcohol. There's so many brands that are associated with the rapper lifestyle. Rolexes.
You guys might hear the printer going. I just heard it whirling. I was like, oh, what is that?
There's so many brands that get associated with that type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
And is that something that should be paid for?
What do you mean, sorry? As in,
The product placement in a song.
Who's to say it's not?
They could be.
You know,
I
think
how much would they be worth?
I think it would just be projections based on what they've already amount of viewerships they get. I mean, that kind of deal in terms of
if I was like,
they would validate brands so well.
I think they would.
Yeah, but dude, if I was like Hennessy, for example, I would love it if someone just rapped about the brand, and I wouldn't charge them anything. I wouldn't ask to be paid for anything because they're promoting you. And if someone asks, "Hey, Hennessy, like pay me and I'll rap about you," I'd be like, yeah, maybe, depending on who they name. Like, if Post Malone was like, oh, I'll write a song about you, or like throw you in a song if you pay me like $4 million.
No, it wouldn't be that.
No, but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Is like some of those brands would be like, yeah, sure, and then other brands would be like, nah, fuck off. We do it by ourselves. It just depends on if you back yourself. And
because there's so many.
These rap songs do validate brands, definitely.
But do you reckon a lot of the rappers think about it? As a rapper that's starting out, they probably don't though. So at what point do they start to go, okay, I've got a leverage point over brands here. Like there was one song done by, I can't actually remember the name. The name of the song is Aloha, and they rap about Alexis Texas, the porn star. And I think there's actually a couple of songs that rap about Alexis Texas. It rhymes really well. It's very easy to fit into a song. That's great for a porn star's brand. I don't know if she has OnlyFans, but like that's a promotion for it. And I don't think that's being paid for.
I don't think that is when it's an individual case. But I think it's when it's these brands, these watch brands. I think there is definitely they would be approached. You got an album coming up. You want to drop our brand on your songs. I will give you X amount for it. I would.
You reckon they're getting paid each time?
Yes.
Each time they put it in a song.
Song number one, song number two.
Yeah, each song it's in, sure. I would think that's how it would work.
And you know what?
That
doesn't seem unreasonable.
That's a great way to validate a brand.
That's what I mean, of course. So the brands know that. These brands have marketing teams that study humans, like psychology.
They've literally got psychologists who also are extremely smart in the business world, and they just sit there and go, all right, what's going to influence a 16-year-old kid to love X brand?
Yeah. You don't even need to be a psychologist. I'm saying, rap will associate with the younger... Okay, let's get them in this. Boom. Let's get our promotion.
Well, you've also got... Well, actually, I'll backtrack because there's another song by Boogie with a Hoodie. Another big rapper. He had a song called Drowning. Chain so heavy, I feel like I'm holding up a mountain. Everywhere that I go, it's a light show. I'm surrounding. He's talking about the diamonds lighting up when he's in light on his chain.
With the paparazzi.
In that song, I checked it, no brand reference. And he had a big enough name before this song to easily monetize or easily insert a brand name into that song. And it's such an easy song. Like, how has he not talked about a specific brand?
Well, sometimes they don't.
He even talked about dipping a Cuban into a fountain, which is a style of watch. Like that is the perfect place for product placement, but yet it hasn't been capitalized on someone who could easily sell something to Rolex, to one of those brands.
I think we'll go back again. Pride. It's like, fuck you. I don't need to get your product placement to make bank. I can do it by myself.
Is this the same guy? Or this is
different rapper. There's
also,
a lot of...
Yeah, it
goes both ways, but I think it went both ways as much when I actually started to look into it that it made me go, are these guys actually thinking about it when they're going for it? Because some of them don't, and they miss the opportunity even though they've got a perfect.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time it is they are aware of what they're doing. When it's where they're not naming brands, I don't know, is that like a social status thing? Like, I have all these things. That's just like is it clout? Is the correct use of clout?
Yes,
it's
Grandpa.
a clout thing. But it can be clout. It can be monetized. I think when they reference a brand, it's probably monetized. Unless it's like a Rolex, where every single person knows what Rolex means. Means you're wealthy. Means you're a baller. But I think a lot of it would be paid for. Like, you can't say every single one, sure. But I think a lot of companies would be like, drop our name here. Go for it. We want to stick relevant in this demographic. You target that.
I did some digging. I then looked at, okay, you got movies. So I went into it. because
went deep on product placement.
Yeah, and just one song got me onto it. But in Top Gun, what's Tom Cruise wearing?
Yes.
Okay, he's wearing the aviator sunglasses,
aviators,
the Ray-Ban aviator sunglasses, classic. Ray-Ban didn't pay for that.
That's a social status. That's the cool thing at the time as well. I think it can work both ways, obviously.
That's also making it so that
a lot of the brand deals and movies aren't actually paid for; they're just being supplied.
Okay, so free publicity for this thing.
Oh, you know a really good example.
You get aviators,
but aviators like a $250 pair of Ray-Bans, like
Drake
that's not much.
Quavo had a song and they put in Apple Mac. It's like this thing where Drake's telling them how to hack into the computer and use the computer to like get their song popping, and they're on an Apple. So like, you know, there's
in a music video. Yeah.
So there's plenty of times where you might just get a free handout just for the sake of it, or you might be like, hey, yeah, just throw this in here. Here's like the laptop plus a few G's.
But that's sort of my point, because are these paid for?
Yes.
Like in cases they are, but in cases they're not. Like Top Gun Ray-Bans.
So it could just be him just rocking up to set and he's like, oh fuck, forgot to take these off. We'll roll with it, improv.
It could have been like it's just one of those situations where having it in Top Gun, I don't know how much, but like some of the estimates of other circumstances in lesser films were tens of millions.
It grows the
so
product a lot. Yeah.
If I was to guess, it's probably upwards of 50 million, just because some of these were no-name movies that had $10 million worth of free ad. So like that's $50 million that's not paid for and not reduced from a budget. Like,
do we know all the relationships of the people who made the movies? Someone have some kind of stake in Ray-Ban? I wouldn't be surprised if there would be some kind of. There's always a connection. There's always some.
He's like, there's this back doors, and everyone knows someone.
Like a Hollywood movie, there's some reason they've put Ray-Bans in there. Maybe if it's not direct monetary, it is because someone is affiliated with them who's benefiting from it.
There's too much money involved.
And
the world's too small. Like you're saying, you're like, there's back doors and he's making money off that and she's making money because of this.
I kept doing my digging.
Good.
I kept doing my digging.
Get the dig.
And the way it works is there's agencies that brands pay, and it's usually a flat fee. Sorry, an annual.
It's a fat fee.
Is that too? It's about $300 to $400K. Brands will pay these agencies to have the agency pitch it to prop designers of sets, and that's how it makes it to the movies.
Yep.
But there's not in a lot of cases, a transaction that takes place between the movie and the brand.
Do you know what'd be hilarious?
It's the agency doing the barter.
Promotion though. It's still paid promotion.
No, it's not.
They're paying the agency to go out and find places that promote our thing.
But yeah, the movie's not paying for it, or vice versa.
Yeah, but they have an association with that agency. There'll be some kind of contract, some kind of thing.
Hilarious. It'd be like
there's a relationship there for some reason. There's a relationship there for some reason because they both mutually benefit.
Agency walks into the Top Gun set with the briefcase, chained to his wrist, walks over to the makeup artist, throws it down on the table, opens up. It's just this foam case with the aviators in it. Make sure he wears these on set take 47. We'll give you 50 grand. Closes the box, walks away, never to be seen again. Next thing, Tom Cruise, glasses, thinks it's part of the costume. That sort of shit will happen. That's the way the world works. It's just like it's all this secret backdoor bullshit. It's just.
So you know Game of Thrones, the Starbucks coffee that was left on the table in those scenes.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Paid promotion or accident?
Apparently accident.
Paid promotion.
Backdoor.
Backdoor. You don't accidentally. I forgot to edit it out of one of the most watched show on television. That is so paid for publicity.
You think so?
100%. As if you leave a coffee cup, and I think they did it twice.
Do you know what I really want to do? I want to have a conspiracy episode. We can maybe do it next week.
I do have a mate who approached
me about that. Yeah,
we should just bring in, and you guys should even comment as well. Like, just let us know if there's some conspiracy out there that you think's just absolute bullshit, or you want us to debunk it. Not that we're going to become a conspiracy podcast, but just let us know. It'd be hilarious.
It's fun to talk about this stuff because so much of it is just
it's weird to entertain.
Bullshit, but it's funny.
Joe Rogan, he gets everyone on the podcast.
Anyone.
UFOs. Thoughts? Quick, just 2 seconds. Yes or no? UFOs exist? Yes or no?
Don't know enough.
I don't think so. I don't think we've seen them.
Probably not. Don't know enough though.
I think, yeah, why not? Fuck it. There's aliens out
I
there.
would like to believe, but yeah, who knows? I don't know.
One more example. Just because it's a loaded example that I have to give. In Jerry Maguire,
yes,
Reebok paid the movie $1.5 million plus Reebok gear to have it in the sets. And at one point, and it wasn't part of the script because Reebok reviewed the script, one of the characters said, "Fuck Reebok." That's bad. Imagine like paying 1.5 mil when some of the deals are quid pro quo.
Hey, but you know what?
Fuck Reebok.
You know what?
That's it from me.
Donald Trump has a really good point, and I'll back this. This is probably the smartest thing he ever said. There's no bad publicity.
A lot of people have said that.
He's a go-to example.
He may have been the first, but yeah.
I'll challenge you on that one because he's currently been blacklisted from all social media, so he's got no publicity.
It's just social media.
Reebok's not dead, alright?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know.
He's trying to start his own social media. Have you seen that?
I don't know.
Makes sense.
There's a few out there.
Twitter and Facebook. They did another little analysis of his account and should he still be temporarily banned? And the answer was yes. Sorry. Well, what's he starting?
He's starting his own. He's starting. I don't know if he's actually doing it, but he's saying to the world, "Oh, I'm starting my own social media where fucking no one can tell me what to do and no one can tell me to shut up."
That's a Donald Trump thing to do. That's a Kanye West.
Isn't that Reddit though? Just go to Reddit, mate.
Free version.
Yeah, do whatever the hell you want.
In Reddit, there's all kinds of things. People talk about neo-Nazis and cults and all this bullshit.
They're like free,
UFOs
and whatever you want.
Crazy.
Twitter's free as well, but they got rid of him.
Until he got blocked.
Yeah.
Who?
Twitter.
Oh.
They are free. Oh, yes, they are.
I know they let a lot of things go, but they are not free. They still censor people.
They have started to,
yeah.
But Jack Dorsey, I think that's the Twitter CEO's name. Jack Dorsey's pretty against it. There's literal porn on Twitter. Mm-hmm. There's beheadings. I mean,
but
I would expect that to be censored.
But they don't. They censor people. They took Donald Trump off, didn't they?
Yeah.
The president of the United States. Like they're not free reign because they have censored people and stopped some content from going.
That's what you're saying.
They're still picky and choosy. They're not complete free. Jack Dorsey wants a wild, wild west Twitter. He said he wants one version where there's complete whatever the hell you want. Then the other one can say what it is where it's just like, they will censor something.
Sunshine and rainbows.
But it's not as censored as some of the other mediums. But he wants one that's the complete wild west, whatever you want. That's what it is. Yeah. So who knows? That might be the future.
Who owns Reddit?
I'm not sure.
I thought it was just started code, but then again, I could be completely wrong. Don't quote me on that. But Reddit's one of those things where it's sort of like a public domain and you can just start servers and get your chats going and get your concepts out on the internet. And there's all kinds of things from, hey, rate my drawing to, hey, let's go behead someone in the Middle East. Like there's just pole opposites. It's where the internet clashes and becomes this massive clusterfuck. It's bad.
We've done some loops. We've done some loops this episode. We've gone back and forth.
Do you want to know a really big loop?
Hit me.
We'll go
slap
right
me in the
back.
face. Slap me in the face.
We'll go right back to like the beginning of the pod.
You can slap me.
You remember how we were talking about how big companies like Epic Games were gonna start their own games and big programs and stuff like that? Amazon. You know how I said like, oh, Amazon's got something in the pipeline for games. There's this new game that they're releasing. They're working on. It's called New World. It's basically people on the internet are calling it the WoW killer, like World of Warcraft.
Big game. Never really played it, but people love that.
So people love World of Warcraft. This game's coming out towards end of the year, I believe. Long story short, it's hype as hell. And I thought you said, let's go.
Amazon just big and jumping into things.
Yeah.
Amazon do everything.
They're just like, mic drop. Here's my money.
With $150 million doesn't go down.
Yeah.
Here's another $150 million doesn't go down. Okay, we'll rethink this.
It's hard to lose when you can just keep on chucking money to
it. And you know what? I looked at the game. It looks actually pretty fucking cool.
I mean, it would have to be. Like, they would have to have paid some of the best people, poached the best people from
they poached people from Blizzard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Blizzard, for those who don't know, Blizzard made WoW. So
What's World of Warcraft?
Yeah. So they poached people from every part of the gaming industry, and they're just making it. And it's literally like you said, these big companies just coming like, here's all my money, fuck it, we'll just try it, and if it doesn't work, here's some more money. Anyway, you said circle, so I just brought it full loop back to the very beginning of the podcast.
No, it's been good. I've enjoyed this podcast. I did realise though, if you'd made it this far, I don't know if I'd shaved I shave my balls, and then I trim the rest.
Yeah.
I didn't say it right the first time.
You just wanted to clarify
I wanted to clarify,
what you do.
yeah.
So if you say it again, you shave your balls and trim the rest.
Yes.
Why not just go full clean?
Because, well, trimming...
Get a runway going.
Well, shaving, you get ingrown hairs if you do it on, like, the pelvic area.
Well,
That's what I've found.
okay, well, you've had experience in all that. Yeah.
You don't
Do you know
shave.
what's fucked?
You're fucking
Let's just,
Amazonia.
you know what?
Couldn't be fun.
We're at the point where
You should turn off now, but we'll keep it running.
podcast is late.
We
It's
recommend
late
you
at
turn it
night.
off.
We're all tired. We had massive days today at work. You know what? Fuck it. Women
I'm
who
careful.
get waxing done. Nuts. Have you guys ever had your arms or legs waxed?
I've waxed part of my leg just to
imagine
put
waxing your nuts. No.
Yeah. Luke has done it.
No, I haven't.
Okay, just guessing. I wanted
Anyway,
to bring it.
I actually questioned myself as I said no.
He was
I don't think Luke's opposed to the idea, though.
No, I wouldn't wax. That's painful as hell.
I don't know. man.
Fundraising.
I don't know. Think of how much time you'd save shaving.
That's facts. I like that actually. But no, have you ever used that like Navia shave cream?
No.
No, okay. It apparently just makes your hair fall off.
Yeah, what the hell's
could
that
work.
doing to you?
It can't be good.
Have you guys seen the videos on the internet where they put it on their hair thinking it's
I
shampoo?
hope you've turned off by now. Sorry, what was it?
They put it on their head.
Yeah, well, you fill a shampoo bottle with this hair removal cream. Someone's in the shower, they're like, yeah, and then all of a sudden it's just like leukemia patient.
Oh, that's...
Poor leukemia patient.
Who would you do that?
I'd do it to my brother. Yeah, I fucking do it to anyone except for Gabby.
Remind me not to shower with you.
Just in case.
See you next
I was
episode,
thinking about it, but
guys.
yeah, not anymore. Oh.
Anyway, thanks for tuning into episode 11. We should have capped it a little bit ago.
Don't shower with me.
Gotcha.
Don't
No
shower.
cap.
Got some important information out at the end there, but anyway.
Thanks for tuning into episode 11. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, that's us.